I get it, there's a temptation to grab the cheapest 14-inch laptop you can find, especially when the price tag looks like a steal. I've seen friends buy those bargain machines, only to end up wrestling with laggy video calls, a screen that looks washed out in bright rooms, and a battery that dies before the coffee break is over. The regret that follows makes you wonder if there's a smarter way to spend a bit more and actually get a device that can handle a full day of work, a little play, and the occasional creative burst without screaming for a reboot. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video, I'm breaking down the Lenovo ThinkPad P14s Gen 4 and seeing whether it truly feels like a smarter buy or just another overpriced workstation. First off, let's talk about the kind of person who sits at a desk for 8 hours, toggles between spreadsheets, 3D modeling software, and the occasional Netflix binge. If you're the type who needs a machine that can crunch data, render a quick animation, or run a few engineering simulations while you sip your latte, the P14s is designed with that exact scenario in mind. It slots a 13th Gen Intel Core i7-1360P, which, unlike the older mobile chips you find in budget ultrabooks, gives you 12 cores split between performance and efficiency. In practice, that means you can have a heavy Photoshop file open, a CAD program running, and still have enough headroom for a video conference without feeling the laptop gasp for breath. Now, the first thing I tested was the day-to-day workflow. I set up a dual monitor scenario using the HDMI port and one of the Thunderbolt 4 ports to attach an external 4K display. The laptop handled it without any hiccup. The integrated graphics handed off the desktop to the external screen while the RTX A500 took care of the GPU-intensive tasks. When I launched a mid-size render in Blender, the rendering time was noticeably faster than on my older ThinkPad T series, thanks to those 4 dedicated CUDA cores and the 32 GB of DDR5 RAM. For someone who needs to produce quick visual proofs for a client, that time saved translates directly into billable hours. But let's not pretend this is a magic bullet. The 14-inch chassis, while sleek in the Villi black finish, does have a trade-off. The screen, marketed as WUXGA, offers a 1920x1200 resolution. That's a step up from the common 1080p panels you see on most consumer laptops, and the extra vertical space does help when you're scrolling through long spreadsheets. However, the color gamut isn't quite the Adobe wide range you'd expect from a dedicated creative workstation. If you're a photographer who needs true-to-life color for final proofing, you'll probably still want an external calibrated monitor. The display is bright enough for indoor work, but in direct sunlight the panel can lose some contrast, so it's not the best companion for outdoor fieldwork. Battery life is another practical concern that often gets swept under the specs table. Lenovo lists a 57 Wh battery, and on paper that looks decent. In my real-world testing, I got roughly 6.5 hours of mixed-usage email, a bit of video streaming, and a short CAD session. That's enough to get you through a typical commute and a few meetings, but if you're planning a full day away from an outlet, you'll need to bring the charger along. The downside here is the extra weight. At about 3.5 kilograms, the P14s is solid, but it won't win any Featherlight awards. The MILST 810H certification means it can survive a drop or a spill better than most consumer laptops, but you still have to factor that heft into your backpack. Connectivity is where the P14s really shines for professionals. 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports give you the flexibility to daisy-chain high-speed storage, connect to a docking station, or drive a 4K monitor with a single cable. The extra USB-C and USB-A ports mean you won't need a dongle for your old mouse or external hard drive. I was able to plug in a fast external SSD, a webcam, and a wired Ethernet adapter all at once, and the laptop handled the traffic without throttling. For a freelancer who juggles client hardware, that kind of plug-and-play reliability is a day-saver. Now, who should skip this machine? If you're a student who mainly needs a laptop for note-taking, web browsing, and occasional Word documents, the P14s is overkill. You'll be paying for a GPU you'll never tap, and the extra RAM and storage you'll likely never fill. A more modest ThinkPad E series or even a non-business Ultrabook would hit the sweet spot for that use case. Likewise, hardcore gamers looking for high frame rates on AAA titles will find the RTX 500 underpowered compared to a desktop-class GPU. It's built for professional workloads, not for pushing 144 Hz on the latest shooters. On the flip side, small business owners, engineers, or designers who need a portable workstation that can also double as a reliable meeting companion will get real value here. The 1TB SSD provides ample room for large project files, and the speed of the NVMe drive means loading